a lot of stresses, and that stress happened in our personal life, in our professional life, and that is so much killing, because if we are not being able to understand what caused that stress, what caused that depression, we have to get to the core of it. And today is the subject I'm being focused on it, and I'm being not only, it's just not a subjective thing, we have to get to the core, and then we are going to identify some of the world-class strategies that many of it, I'm being a practitioner of it. I have seen many of the people, they are being practicing the same. So I'm going to share with you. As I mentioned, that please have always ensured that you are having at least one takeaway from every of the session, so that which you can apply instantly in your life and to start getting some of the results. That's the whole objective about it. Once again, I'm going to say a big thank you to all of you for making your choice of your time with me. And I'm your friend, and my name is Kamran. So let's start with the prayer. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Oh Allah, open up the door of wisdom on us. Make our work easy. And remove the utterance of my tongue, so that people should understand. Today, as I mentioned, if you see on my back, I have just written in a big word, is a stress management. So we have to look into that, how it is going to be happen. Now, if I give you a very simple illustration, I have a glass full of water, and I've been holding it in my hand. Now, if you look into that weight of that glass with the water, it's negligible. You can hold it maybe few seconds, few minutes, and so. What about if you hold it like this for 1 hour? What is going to be happen? So this weight is nothing. This weight is nothing. You can hold it. Even a kid can hold that glass in this way. But what about if you hold it for 1 hour? What happens if you are going to hold up for 2 hours? What about for 5 hours? What about for a whole day? What about for a week? What is going to be happen? Of course, even if you are not a doctor, you can guess immediately that, Kamran, if we are going to hold up this even a small negligible weight in our hand for an extended period of time, it is going to adversely impact our body. My arm would get numb, or it has a lot of damage. The tissues are going to be damaged, and sometimes it is an irreversible loss. Now, my dear friends, this is a metaphor I'm using of that glass. Even a small scale weight can impact us physically if we extend it on our shoulders for an extended period in time. What about that stress? What about that feeling of distress? What about that feeling of emotions of anger? What about that feeling of disappointment? And we are carrying it on our shoulder for an extended period in time. What is going to be happen? Of course, answer is correct, that it is going to help, it is going to impact us physically, it is going to impact us spiritually, it is going to impact us mentally. So what we are going to start with, let's first decode, let's crack the code, how the stress happened. And I would invite you once again that please write it down, so that you are not going to forget about it. So whenever you are being in that state, you identify in which phase I'm been in and what are the ways in which I can pull out myself. So let's start with that. Now, question is, you might have seen that I have drawn some of the lines over here. So the first line, whenever we talk about on the stress domain, this is called, you can write it down at your end, this is called my mental standards. My mental standards. Now, what is my mental standards? If you just look inside of yourself and think about it, you have some sort of expectation, which I say the mental standard, about the way your family should behave with you. You have some sort of standards or expectation which you always expect from your kids. You have certain set of expectation or the standards which you are always looking into in your work environment, the way your colleagues should treat with you, your boss should communicate with you. You always have some sort of standards related to your professional life, related to your personal life. So we always carry that standards. Now the problem happened as far as the things which I've been getting in my surrounding, in my family life, in my professional life, according to the mental standard which I'm having, so I'm stress-free. So I'm happy, alhamdulillah. So everything whatsoever I'm getting is actually as what I've been expecting. And if I got something more over it, I mean to say in a good way, so I will be more excited about it. Now question is, if I found that whatsoever my standards are, if I talk about in a professional context, if I say, if I look around in my profession, and if I look around that, especially in my job scenario, there are some of the things which I've been expecting from my colleague. There is some sort of expectation I'm expecting from the company, from the boss, and things like that. It is not there. It is not exactly what I'm looking for. So you know what is the next standard I go into an anxiety mode. An anxiety. I got into an anxiety mode. Now, this anxiety is a low level. For example, there is something which I was expecting, but it might be happen in such a way that it is not happening on that day. My boss, my colleague, my wife, my kids does not behave in some specific way. I feel an anxiety. What is happening with them? So this is the anxiety mode. Now, when this is an anxiety mode happen, it happened, for example, if I'm been in that state for few hours only, that put me into an anxiety state. Now what about if I found that my surrounding, my conditions is not the same, and it has changed up to that extent that even after days has been elapsed, but the situation has not been changed, I went into a tension mode. It is a tension mode now. So something which is not as per my standards, some of the behaviors of my kid are not what I was been expecting, and I found that it's now been extended to some of the days now. So I'm been into the tension mode. Or some of my relationship, they have been strained and they are not being actually according to my expectation. I went into the tension mode. Now what about if the same scenario extend for weeks or for months? Where I went into that? Answer is clear. I went into a depression mode. I went into a depression mode. Because as far as I am in this range, which is in anxiety and tension, one of the things which is very important to remember over here, as far as I'm in anxiety and depression, I have a belief. And that's a belief I'm carrying. I have a belief that something is going to be happen, some scenario is going to be happen, some behaviors are going to be changed. This situation is going to reverse back. So as far as I'm having an expectation that whatsoever the scenario I've been going through, there is a chance it is going to be reversed back. It is going to be, I'm going to get back whatsoever I was been expecting from my company, from my colleagues, from my family, friends, etc. If it is reversible, as far as my belief is it is reversible, I'm being in an anxiety and tension mode. Now the point is, if I reach up to that extent over a period of weeks and a month, I found like nothing is going to be changed. It is going to be, I mean to say, I have to accept a new reality. This is not going to be workable. This is something which I was been not expecting. And because it has been happening for an extended period in time, and this is not what I want, I go into a depression mode. So depression is a state which is a hopelessness state that I know nothing going to be changed. This is permanent sort of situation. I cannot change that. So first of all, we have to understand where we are being in. So this is just to give you that stress has different shades and we have to go through it. Now point is, here you can talk about, is every time stress is negative? Is every time it is damaging? Is every time stress is not healthy? Answer is no, absolutely not. There are the stress initial situations. For example, initial situation, if I'm being in that domain, there are some of my mental standards, maybe my professional standards are not up to the mark. They are not being the very high fly sort of standards. And because of my work environment, suddenly I got a scenario and I've been asked that I have to actually do something instantly in which I have to bring back that or to uplift my standards of my contribution. This is very healthy. In that instance, my scale of contribution over here, if I say what is my scale of contribution, I would say the scale of contribution or my ability to manage stress on this side, and this is about the stress situation. So as far as if this one, some of the standards has been challenged, and somebody asked me, Kamran, your professional standards are not up to the mark, so you have to change it something, and I'm being into a bit of an anxiety and tension, but this is positive because I started improvising into my work, I started improvising into my relationship. So as far as there is certain situations where I can improvise, there is certain domain onto that, it is good, it is healthy, because with that stress, my ability to cope with it, my ability to grow myself has been happening. But remember that there is an optimum level, and if that stress keep on continuing without any end to it, then there is a decline, and after a certain period in time, the people who are being very productive and very positive, they decrease in their performance and their mental capacity. So always remember, even a stress, it has certain optimum value. Now question is, if we know this scenario, what are the things we have to do? Now today's subject, what we are going to talk about is, what are the scenarios in which we can come out and we can actually come closer to our mental standards, or we get a challenge into that and we started looking into that, how can we improvise? So I have used one of the interesting example. You might have seen that there is, I try to, my drawing is not that very good, but just to give you an idea, this is a ship and I've just put it that it has been sailing through it. One of the interesting phenomena, but we have to learn from it, that every ship, it has an airtight compartments at the base. Now, why they create an airtight compartments? They create in the ship that if there is certain leakage of water over here, so instantly they lock that compartment so that this water should not actually just go across in all the ship around. So this is called an airtight, watertight compartments. It has been there. This is a metaphor I'm using, that basically this gives us a scenario that whenever we are being having in our life, the scenarios, the stress, the depression, it happened. Now let's look into that. We are having three domains. One is our present. Second is our future. And third is our past. I'm taking this scenario over here. Now the psychologists say that whenever you feel fear, you feel regrets. Regrets always happen when you are looking into your past. So some of the mistakes you might have been made, and you cannot, for example, some of the things, some of the opportunity which has been lost, and you had a chance to do that and you had a regret of it. Why didn't you have done that? So whenever you look back, and if it's not a good experience, you always carry a regrets with yourself. Now, whenever you are looking towards the future and you feel like it is not uncertain, you always feel a bit of fear over here. So always fear is towards the future and regrets is towards the past. Now, the psychologist has given one of the important strategy. They said, like the ships, they live in a watertight compartment. You should focus on your present moment, and you have to look into that. What are the things right now which are in your area of control, which are within your area of influence, and what you can do right now, that is of more value, because there are many uncertainties in the future. No one can give you a guarantee about that, and you don't have any chance to get back to the past, and you cannot change anything over there. Some wise man has amazingly, he has said that part. He said, it is not possible for me to get back to my past and to have a start from there, but I have a provision that if I start afresh from today with a different focus, of course I had a brand new ending. That's not the ending I've been heading. I can create my brand new ending if I start focusing today what has been there. So most important part is the people who can manage with their stress, first first mantra, they are being more focused on their present. That's more important. That has been, they look into that part. When they are being focused onto it, they are being able to identify what are the things which they can manage, what are the things which they can control. Now, let's come on to that part, and we have to see how can we manage with that. As I mentioned, that in a stress management, there are two levels we have to deal with it. Two levels we have to deal with it. One of the level we have to deal with, it is called a physical level. Now, question is, if stress is physical? Answer is yes. Whenever we are feeling that amount of stress and depression, have you observed that our blood pressure, we feel like it has been raised. Our pulse has been running like anything, and we got a sort of, even the blood sugar level has been increased over there, because the stress is causing that physical phenomena because of one of the hormone we started creating in our body, cortisol, and this cortisol is creating that sort of I'm going to say sort of that emotion, that sort of scenario. So if stress is physical, we have to get physical with it. Are you getting the point what I'm trying to say? If we are feeling fear we are feeling within our body somewhere. So if any emotions which is physical, we have to deal physical with that. That is a step number one. So what are the different ways in which we can do physical with that? So now, number one, what we can do is, first of all, we have to, whenever you are being into the stressful situations and you feel like that your body has got a tension in the body, first of all, the psychologists, I'm just quoting some of their best practices, they say you have to do some deep breathing. So if you can join me for a second. So what we are going to do, and you will see the instant difference right now. So I'll say, I'm going to inhale for 4 seconds. I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. I will inhale. I will hold it for 4 seconds. And then I will exhale for 4 seconds. All right. So let's do it with me. So I've been doing a breathing exercise. Imagine I've been in a lot of stress right now. I had a lot of issues and my thinking has blinkered. Never do any decision at that mode, because your thinking has been blurred now. So you have to first get control of your body and you have to take a deep breath. So let's start with me, and I'm inhaling. So again, when I've been inhaling, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Till the time 4, I'm inhaling. I'm holding my breath for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm exhaling for 4 seconds now. So once again. So if you are going to do it in this way, first of all, if you repeat this exercise, you will feel like a little bit of calmness in your body. That's number one. Any of the stress scenario, have your breathing exercise wherever you are been in. If you are been in a stressful situation, that is number one. Number two, the sleep. You have to ensure that at least from 6 to 8 hours of your non-interrupted sleep pattern should be there. 6 to 8 hours. Because the most important part is, if you are deprived of your sleep, you are getting in your body that sort of hormones which are not healthy, and it is causing you to stretch a lot. It is causing to give you an impact on your physical level. So get a sleep that is in your hand. Number three, there is another thing which very rightly said, if either you exercise or if you walk, have a walk for 30 to 45 minutes, you get a dose of dopamine, you feel, which are a happy hormones. You feel like being in control of the situation. Your emotions change. And always remember, my dear friends, whenever I said that our body and our emotions, they are connected together. Always remember that. Our body and emotions are connected together. When I'm being in a stressful mode, my emotions are different. But when I'm in a happy emotions, my body reacts in a very different way. So always remember that if you are doing a walk of at least 30 to 45 minutes, this is the best thing, because it creates a little bit of that sort of neurotransmitters in your body, which actually give you a happiness hormone. And of course, you can have a better capacity to deal with the stress. Then there are a lot many other, but I'm just choosing few of them. They say always stay hydrated. Hydrated. So what is hydrated? I was talking to one of the doctor and he said the best thing you can do is you can calculate your weight in kg. For example, if you are 75 kg or you are 80 kg or 70 kg, so per 10 kg weight, you should have at least 1 liter of water. You should have that. So for example, if I'm 80 kg, so it means that I have to have 8 liters. Ideally, should have that, but I can gradually start with that. So if I'm getting hydrated, if I'm doing my walk for 30, 45 minutes, if I'm getting my sleep, if I'm having a breathing exercise, on a physical level, I got my capacity to handle stress in a better way. I would not say that the stress will go away, but I'm saying that this exercise, this physical activity, giving me a better stance, better resources to handle with the stress over there. Some person, which is very wise person, has said that. They said, don't wish that your problems get smaller in life, your challenges get smaller in life. Rather wish that you grow larger than your problems, you grow larger than your challenges. So my dear friends, the most important part is that whatsoever we have been trying, we're not asking our challenges and our problems to go away. Rather, we are creating a capacity in ourselves that we grow larger than to our challenges, larger than to our problems, because in life, till the time we are breathing, the challenges are not going to be finished. No one can claim that even you are whatsoever the title you are having, the problems and challenges always are going to be there till the time we have been living. So what we have to do, we have to have, first thing we have to do on the physical level. Now coming back, what are the things we can do on the psychological level? That's very important. What are the things we can do on a psychological level so that we ensure that whatsoever the things we have been doing? So the one most important part, my dear friends, what I'm going to talk about that whenever you are being into that situation, first of all, think about it. If I ask you a question, that imagine why I'm been worrying. Let's ask this question to yourself. Why I'm been worrying? So you say, why? Because there are many things I'm been struggling with my physical health. I'm struggling with my family. I'm struggling with my job, etc. Now I'm going to ask you a question. If this is your worry, is a solution available in this world? Is there a solution? For example, if you are going through some sort of physical challenge, is there solutions available? Is there a treatment available for that? Answer is yes, or yes, this is available. If there are some of the issues you are facing in your job, is there a solution available for it? Think about it. And you say, yes, solutions are available. So the question is, when the solutions are available, then why to worry? Now let's take the other scenario. And you say, no, Kamran, you don't understand what I'm saying. The scenario I'm been in, there is no solutions available in this world. All right, fine. If there is no solution available, my dear friends, then why I have to ask you a question, counter question? Then why to worry again then? If there is not a solution available, why to worry? Because my worry is not going to change anything then. And if there is a solution available, then again, why to worry? Because I can go after that solution. So interesting scenario, we can talk about that. Now let's look into that. On a psychological level, one of the important things which I'm going to write it down for you, my dear friends, please remember that, write it down, because this is something which we have to learn, that events in our life, events happened in our life. All the events which happened in my life. Maybe this event could be a loss of a job for me. That event can be a death of some near one and dear one. That event could be that I'm not being considered for any promotion. That event could be that somebody has deceived me financially, emotionally. There are events. Now the important thing is, in many of the instances, I don't have any control on the events. So if I don't have any control on the events, what is the control I've been having? I have one of the interesting control on the events, that I have a control on the interpretation of that event. What meaning you are assigning to that event? What meaning you are assigning if you have a job loss? What meaning you are assigning? What meaning you are assigning to someone who has lost his life, someone dear one and near one? Important thing. You have to look into that, what meaning you are assigning over here. If you are assigning to any event that, oh my God, I have lost a job, it means that I'm financially broke, there's no hope for me to get any job further, and this is an end of life for myself, everything is going to be shattered around. Now this meaning is not empowering. This meaning is not empowering, because all of your behaviors and actions are based on that interpretation. Now if I change that interpretation for you, and if, for example, I remember that I think I have quoted about that whenever some bigger losses are being happened, whether it's on a family level, or the thing is where you are focusing. So if you are focusing on that part, that I was not being able to go for any other opportunities, to test my abilities. And because I'm being forced now to go for it, now the whole thing is open for myself, and I'm certain that whatsoever the capabilities, potential abilities I've been having, I'm going to get my way through. If I'm not being able to get my way, I will create my way. No one is going to stop me, because whatsoever the things I'm going to achieve, failure is not an option. I'm not going to do. One of the important phenomena, one of the important passionate thing has been, they have said that if you have something to achieve in your life, whether it's your business, job, family, anything, and if you are prayed with that phenomena that I have two options to live with, either I'm going to achieve it or I'm going to finish myself, I'm going to die into the process, I will not care about it, but I'm going to make things happen. This is what is called the interpretation of it. What meaning you have been assigning to that. If you control that meaning, you can control the outcome of yourself. This is very important, we have to talk about. Now I'm going to leave with you one of the three questions which is very empowering, and I would ask you, whenever you come across any stressful or depression sort of situation, please ask this question for you. I would ask you to write it down, because this is a magical question you have to answer. And if there is any situation right now you have been going through, just write it down, this question. Question number one: what I'm being worried about. Write it down. What I am being worried about, or you can say, what is causing me a stress. Question number one: what I'm being worried about and stressed about. So what you have to do, write down this question, and write down, no one is going to see that paper, write down with precise detail what exactly is causing you a worry, what exactly is the scenario. Because the problem is, one of the things is, when we always hold our worries in our head, our mind is very creative, it always exaggerates the scenarios. It is not that much bad as we are thinking in our head. So the first thing is, you have to put it in your paper, what exactly you have been worried about. Write it down. All right, if I'm going to have someone is being very ill in my family, or my relationship with my family and spouses are not good, or my job is on stake, I don't know what is going to be happen for myself. Write it down, what you have been worried about. Question number two. Question number two, you have to write down, and this is a very interesting question. You have to think about, if this scenario is going to be happen, what I'm being worried about, what is the worst situation? Worst possible scenario could happen. What could be the worst possible could happen? Write it down for yourself. Identify what is the worst possible scenario could happen. So somebody say, all right, I'm been worried about right now, my job is on stake, I don't know what is going to be happen. All right, what's the worst come worst happen? Oh, worst come worst, I'm going to lose my job. All right, that's it. Anything else about that? No, this is itself so much worse. All right, write it down, what is the worst possible scenario? If anything going to be happen, this is the worst possible scenario. I'm going to leave this country, I'm going to leave this and this. Write it down. Now the point is, the psychology say, when you write it down, what is your worst scenario possible over here, your mind get clear into it, and then you get into the third question, which is very important. And the third question is a life changer, is a game changer. Here, third question is, if this is the worst possible scenario, if this is going to be happen, what are the things I can do? What are the actions I can do right now? What are my options? What are my options? So once you will write it down, what are my options? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep on writing down your options. All right, if I'm going to not having my job, so I'm having some of my investments are already been there. I'm having some of my money at my back, so I can at least survive for 6 months. Or some of the things they have been already taken care of, or some of the scenarios, or whatsoever the option, you can write it down, and then you can choose what are the best option out of it, and you started taking an actions onto it. Metaphor, if we transform ourselves, we will say we are like a sun, and that sun, no one can switch it off. it has an energy and it is being very giving, and it does not care whether the light has been putting onto the gutter water or on the river or on the sea or on the mountain. It's been very giving irrespective of what is the scenario. Even if there the darker clouds come around, it goes away. No, it always stay there, but the moment the darker clouds just get away, it come again with its light. So I would say, I wish for all of us, my dear friends, today what we have talked about, that stress is really a killer thing, and it actually take the happiness out of our life. Today we discussed that if we can focus on it, if we deal with it on a physical level, if we deal with it on a psychological level, we can take the advantage of it. And remember, as I mentioned, till the time we are living and breathing, the challenges cannot get away, and always wish to